Welcome to TBC News. Our top stories. New impetus to Zanzibar's rich heritage.
Appreciative of the fact that we have groups like yours that can come and work with us.
World Bank hails SGR, pledges more support.
Congratulate the government of Tanzania for this very important achievement.
Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TBC Online. The president of Zanzibar and chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, says Zanzibar seeks more stakeholders to work with in preserving and developing Zanzibar's stone town due to its significance to the country's economy. Here are more details.
Dr. Mwinyi made the call in Zanzibar when he met and held talks with a delegation from the UK International National Trust Organization, who explained to him the successful implementation of renovating the Custom House building located in Forodhani, the famous Mzingani building. He insists that the stone town, apart from being the World Heritage Area, but also is an important symbol for promoting the Zanzibar economy through the tourism industry.
Tourism is mainly beach resorts plus our heritage sites, which is the stone town. So we have to do whatever it takes to make sure that we preserve Stone Town. And with collaboration like yours, we are very much appreciative of the fact that we have groups like yours that can come and work with us in preserving our heritage sites. So thank you very much for the good work that has been done on the old Customs House. I want to take this opportunity to thank the International National Trust and the British Council Cultural Protection Fund for assisting us.
Speaking on the effects of climate change, including the rise of sea level, the project manager of the organization, David Anthony Simpson, says challenge faces many heritage cities around the world, which is located on coastal areas such as the Zanzibar Stone Town, underscoring his organization's readiness to work with Zanzibar government to keep the town on the world map.
I've heard from some of the other African and Middle East members represented here in the room today. And amongst our membership, we also count a large number of other island states from all over the world that are facing some similar challenges to that of Zanzibar. The Withstand and Change programme was initiated in late 2022 and is running for 2.5 years under the British Council's Cultural Protection Fund, and is working to protect special places such as Old Customs House from the effects of climate change.
The delegation, which is consisted of various experts in the heritage conservation, is led by the Minister of Tourism and Antiquities, Mudrik Ramadhani Suraga, includes heritage conservation institutions from England, Jordan, Egypt, and Uganda.
The Vice President of the World Bank in charge of the East and South African region, Victoria Kwakwa, has explored the standard gauge railway services from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma as part of her 3-day visit to Tanzania. During her visit, she expects to meet and hold talks with the Minister of Finance, Dr. Mwigulu Nchemba, regarding the possibilities of financing various development projects in Tanzania, including the remaining SGR phases.
We congratulate the government and the people for this part of the process and look forward to supporting this. You know, the World Bank country director has been in discussions with the government as to how we can effectively support the SGR through our program. So we're committed to being part of this success and also to making sure that we help with the linkages with the other forms of transport so you complete a chain and to also ensure the financial sustainability and the viability. So thank you so much.
The Vice President has applauded Tanzania for the investment on the SGR project, which she believes will be a stimulus to the transportation sector and the overall economic growth of not only Tanzania, but also the whole Great Lakes region.
I congratulate the government of Tanzania for this very important achievement. I mean, Africa is one of the regions that is really underserved by railway connectivity. And so to see this investment come to fruition and come into service is really impressive. And to see Tanzania sort of spearheading and the push to use rail connectivity and rail transportation more is really laudable. So first is just sincere congratulations to Her Excellency the President for her leadership on this, and to the technical ministry that has led this effort.
Kwakwa was accompanied by the World Bank Country Director in Tanzania, Nathan Balete, and the bank's senior officers, Nicholas Soikan and Makiko Watanabe, and her visit aims at strengthening cooperation between Tanzania and the World Bank. Now let's have a look at other stories. Despite challenges that hinder the growth of startups, including limited access to funding, a lack of supportive policies, and the lack of systems to support business growth, Tanzania's startup ecosystem has been optimistic due to increased support from both the public and private sectors. My colleague Rioba Stephen explores the state of the startup ecosystem in Tanzania.
Dar es Salaam is Tanzania's largest city and economic hub, but it's also a focal point for startups, particularly in sectors like fintech, agritech, health tech, and e-commerce. Jumanne Mtambarike is a prominent figure in Tanzania's innovation and technology ecosystem. He's best known as the CEO and founder of Sahara Venture, a firm that focuses on building a sustainable innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Africa through technology and business development. In exploring the current state of the startup ecosystem in Tanzania, Jumanne Mtambarike began by explaining what distinguishes startups from traditional businesses.
A startup ecosystem is a network of organizations and key players who are working together to support the growth of the startup. And this can be academic institutions who are responsible to produce talent, investment firms which are responsible to invest in startup companies, ecosystem enablers, incubators and accelerators which are responsible to incubate and accelerate growth of the businesses, policymakers and regulators who are creating this regulation for friendly business environment for startup. So when all these actors come together, that is what we call a startup ecosystem.
So what's the current state of the startup ecosystem in the country?
Basically, it's growing very fast. We are seeing more and more Tanzanian founders raising capital. We are seeing more startups being formed and creating employment opportunities for young Tanzanians. We are seeing more startups coming up with disruptive solutions across multiple sectors: health, education, agriculture, finance, climate, and they're all growing very fast.
The Tanzania Startups Association, TSA, plays a very significant role in shaping policies and regulation for startups to thrive in the country. According to the 2023 annual report, the fintech financial technology industry accounts for 8.83% of the 842 known startups in Tanzania, contributing significantly to 9,888 jobs.
Truth is, almost half of the money coming into Africa is going straight into fintech space, and it's really key sector in the startup ecosystem. There's a huge appetite from outside investors to come invest in that space. And recently, we've seen Central Bank of Tanzania, BOT, starting a fintech regulatory sandbox, giving a space and room for innovate.
Startups are operating across various sectors, depending on their innovation and business models. So far, software as a service lead the way, followed by agritech, e-commerce, retail, and healthcare. Rioba Stephen, TBC.
Ambassador of Uganda to Tanzania, Fred Mwesigye, says African leaders should prioritize maintaining unity, peace and solidarity as part of honoring the father of the nation, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere. Towards the commemoration of the 25th anniversary since the passing of the founding father of the nation, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, the Embassy of Uganda plans to celebrate the day by sending a delegation of more than 200 Ugandans to Butiama in the Mara region, where the landmark celebrations will be held. He insists Ugandans will not forget the contribution of Mwalimu Nyerere in the war to oust the rule of the brutal Idi Amin out of power.
In Uganda, we have a big delegation coming to Butiama on the 14th. Our president has been gracious enough. He has hired a whole plane, Uganda Airlines, to bring Ugandans up to Mwanza. Then from Mwanza, we shall drive in our buses up to Butiama. Then we shall have a mass in the church. Then in the evening, we shall gather around the fireplace and we shall talk about Pan-Africanism, African integration, because that was the message of our founding fathers, including Mwalimu Nyerere. So a big delegation, and I'll be there. So there will be many speakers from Uganda. There will be many youth around that fireplace to really remind the youth that we must fulfill the vision, the dream of Mwalimu Nyerere.
That was the ambassador of Uganda to Tanzania, Fred Mwesigye, speaking with my colleague Rioba Stephen. Let's have a look at other stories now. The Minister of Information, Communication and Information Technology, Jerry Silaa, says the Africa World Summit on the Information Society 2024 is the right platform to review previous deliberations on a global digital compact framework through in-depth dialogue among stakeholders. Antonia Kivaria reports.
It is the Africa World Summit of Information Society being held in Dar es Salaam. The Minister of Information, Communication and Information Technology, Jerry Silaa, says the summit came at the right time.
20 years ago, WSIS set the framework for global digital cooperation with a vision to build people-centric, inclusive and development-oriented information and knowledge societies.
He elaborates that the government of Tanzania has launched the Tanzania Digital Economy Framework 2024-2034, which puts forward clear guidance on how to navigate through the digital economy.
To reflect and review on the achievement and challenges of the past 20 years, it is essential to acknowledge the 11 WSIS action lines that have been guiding us through these years. These action lines are the role of public governance, authorities, and stakeholders in promoting of ICT for development, information and communication infrastructure, access to information and knowledge, capacity building, building confidence and security in the use of ICTs, enabling environment, and international and regional cooperation.
On the other hand, Dr. Maktek Sek, who is the Chief Emerging and Frontier Technologies United Nations Economic Commissions for Africa, UNECA, says the transformation has challenges that Tanzania and Africa need to overcome.
In 2005, the penetration on internet was 2.1% for Africa. In 2024, we are at 37%. Cybersecurity, it is now a big challenge for the continent. As you know, cybersecurity impacts 10% of the Africa GDP.
Some of the stakeholders attending the summit hails Tanzania and other African countries, which has been on the forefront to promote digital innovation through various digital accelerations programs.
We still have 1/3 of the population in the world that is not connected. And this is something that the International Telecommunication Union is really focusing on, connecting the world. A universal, meaningful connectivity. And we contribute to the business process greatly. We are in charge of the 4 business action lines: the infrastructure, capacity building, cybersecurity, and enabling environment.
For me, the most important thing going forward is also for WISES to focus on how we use digital solutions and digital platforms to solve the information exchange programs among scientists and researchers on the continent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. How can we make sure that no citizen is left behind? Even to the point when we're talking about Mama Lishe, how can Mama Lishe use digital transformation to get more clients, to get a bigger market share?
Antonia Kivaria, TBC News.
Now let's head over to Jakarta, whereby the ambassador of Tanzania to Indonesia, Makocha Tembele, says Tanzania will use Indonesia's International Trade Expo to deepen trade ties with Indonesia and seek investment partnerships among investors from both countries. Ismail Bugda is attending the exhibition and has prepared the following report.
Thousands of business people, sellers and distributors from 150 countries are gathering at the 39th Trade Expo in the city of Jakarta, Indonesia, a country with an economy worth over $1 trillion. The theme of this exhibition is to build a strong connection with the best of Indonesia. For 52 consecutive months, Indonesia's trade balance has been positive as exports exceed the imports by USD 2.8 billion through the export of non-oil and gas products.
Impor dari China yang masif.
Many countries are starting to worry and prepare to protect their domestic markets from the massive influence of Chinese imports, which came at much cheaper price. And we, Indonesia, as a country, we must be able to protect our domestic market.
Mampu melindungi pasar domestik kita.
More than 20 businessmen and women have been invited by the Indonesian embassy in Tanzania to attend the Expo with the goal of learning and exploring new business opportunities.
The delegation that came here, some of them are interested in fashion, some are in fertilizer, some are in clothes. Already found most of what they find here or what they want here. I mean, they meet the business partner and then they have discussed and they have negotiated.
The Tanzanian business delegation say their main goal is to secure potential business and investment partners with these G20 country.
60% of all the imports that come in Tanzania, they come from Indonesia. So that is a very huge number. And for a business person who does business matching, this is an opportunity for me to match business people of Tanzania and the Indonesian businessmen as well.
In 2022-2023, Tanzania exported goods worth 50 million USD to Indonesia compared to Indonesia's exports of goods worth 250 million USD to Tanzania. Here, the Tanzanian ambassador to Indonesia emphasizes how Tanzania can benefit from developing deeper trade ties with Indonesia.
The advantage of that is Indonesia has been able now to be where they are because of the policy of value addition, domestic value addition. We call it beneficiation or value addition in Tanzania. And that is what I'm encouraging businesses from Tanzania at least to toe this line.
In addition to cloves, cocoa and tobacco being exported to Indonesia, Ambassador Tembele also stresses on ever-increasing business interest on oil and gas.
If I look at Indonesian investors, most of the inquiry that they made about Tanzania is on that sector, how they can collaborate with the private sector and the government in Tanzania to enter into joint venture to add value to the minerals that we have.
During President Samia's visit to Indonesia, Tanzania and Indonesia agreed to start negotiations for Preferential Trade Agreement PTA in 2024. Both countries also committed to strengthening cooperation in the oil and gas sector, with Indonesia's PT Pertamina expanding its partnership in Tanzania's Mnazi Bay oil and gas block. Reporting from Jakarta, Indonesia, Ismail Bugda, TBC News.
The Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, Musa Azan Zungu, says the government continues to create a conducive environment for sugarcane farmers so as to sustain sugar production throughout the year. He made the remarks during the opening of Kilombero Farmers Exhibitions 2024. Peter Mganga has more.
It is the 6th Kilombero Sugarcane Farmers Exhibitions, where various stakeholders meet to showcase diverse sugarcane agriculture products. Here, Deputy Speaker of Parliament Musa Azan Zungu says the government has allocated more than 1 billion to enhance the value of the Tanzanian agricultural sector.
President Samia has been at the forefront of ensuring sugarcane farming takes great strides, including the initiation of irrigation projects, the provision of funds for the operation of sugarcane farming in parallel with adding value to sugarcane farmers. The Tanzanian government will continue to support efforts of farmers, especially sugarcane agriculture.
On the other hand, Farmers Fair Coordinator Victor Abiemera urges farmers to maximize on the exhibition to boost the quality and efficiency of sugar production in Tanzania.
As organizers, we are very grateful today to have our first day for our exhibition. And one among the very unique part of this exhibition for this year is the way how we've actually structured. So we have actually got more exhibitors, and especially across what we call the value chain of sugarcane, but also the sugar industry itself. And what we wanted to tell the farmers, the sugarcane farmers, is this is a very substantial exhibition that they have to participate, because it actually expresses the entire value chain of the sugarcane farming, but also the sugar industry.
Some of the exhibitors attending the fair say the exhibition is the right platform to explore best and modern sugarcane agriculture practices.
The aim of being here is just to show the farmers that we are doing services not only for the Kilombero sugar, also for the small growers, like giving them services of plowing and the other operations. Apart from that, also in the irrigation system and the other activities like excavation, load maintenance.
I'm very happy to be part of this exhibition for Kilombero's Farmers Days, and I think this brings an opportunity to our farmers around Kilombero area and across all the regions to be introduced to the latest technology for agriculture and farming. The activities or their farming activities are attached with the best technology available, and also to increase the efficiency and the productivity, and to come together as as partners to sustain Tanzania sugar market and sugar deficiency.
More than 35 exhibitors here in Kilombero district, they have decided to showcase their product, while this year's theme reflects the reality of technology for the further sufficient of sugar in Tanzania. Reporting from Kilombero, Peter Mganga, TBC News.
University of Dar es Salaam academic staff urge citizens to take advantage of the upcoming elections to elect leaders that represent local government they want in their areas. In our TBC News Who is Your Leader series, my colleague Antonia Kivaria speaks with the academic experts on why every Tanzanian should vote.
The intellectuals, particularly at the universities, are a very important component in this election, because they have the required knowledge that is supposed to be layered to the citizens so that they can understand the importance of election and actually participate in the election as it is required.
These are called local government leaders. So they are leaders from their villages, from their wards, and so forth. So as Tanzanians, it's very important to come forth and participate in this election.
We are talking about electing people who are directly responsible with the people at the grassroots, with everyone concerned. And therefore, I'm challenging every Tanzanian to participate in having the right people to lead. That's where the grassroots planning and the end products of the country as a whole goes.
It's a type of governance that is within the communities where people live. So whenever this opportunity comes, it means it concerns the people. It is the time for the people to elect their leaders from their communities for their own affairs as members of the community.
And now, before we wind up local news, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT.
News starts in America. Rescue operations are underway in Florida after Hurricane Milton made landfall in the U.S. state. The storm is now being downgraded to Category 1, but it has already shown its devastating power, bring dozens of tornadoes. Officials have warned of intense winds and after life-threatening storm surge. This is the second hurricane to hit the region in less than 2 weeks. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden has accused the Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump for leading what he calls unslaughtered lies about recent storms and his administration response. To East Asia, UNICEF has raised an alarm about the worsening education crisis in Pakistan's Sindh province. Floods and heavy monsoon rains damaged more than 1,300 schools. 230,000 children are still missing out on lessons. The UN is worried prolonged closure may prevent many students from returning to class. From Asia to Europe, a string of solidarity marches took place throughout Europe in solidarity with Palestinian people. The war generated a mass protest movement, even when banned, when police prevent them. From Berlin to Brussels to Barcelona, people have gathered to oppose Israel war on Gaza, even defining bans as Italy's government attempted to impose, provoking anger.
And it is time for sports news, whereby Young Africans manager Walter Harrison is optimistic that his squad will beat their arch-rivals Simba in the upcoming Dar es Salaam derby to be played at Benjamin Mkapa on October 19th. Speaking to TBC News in Dar es Salaam, Walter says that even though his team plays under tight schedule, they are ready to play against Simba and snatch the victory. The last match between the two giant clubs, Young Africans defeated Simba by a goal to 0. In other sports news, Tanzanian workers have been encouraged to do regular exercises so as to develop good health that will help them increase productivity at work.
You do exercise, you remain fit, and all of us can, if you are fit, your mental health is very good, and you can perform well in your personal life also, in the organization also.
A 15-kilometer jogging exercise has been held from the Ala factory to the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium, where the runners also participated in various exercises to strengthen their health. And on that note, we are ending our news bulletin for tonight. I am Faida Gaga. Good night.
Taifa letu la Tanzania wakati huu linaanza